Good morning, huddlers. My name is Saurel Quettan. I'm here sitting for my good friend Chase Steele Gray, who is the host of our Wednesdays focused on health and wellness. And I am here inside of a question that Chase created. Listen to this. Chase said, the power of giving, healing through generosity. That is today's conversation. So I'm at once challenged by it and also curious to see where you go with it. Have you ever noticed how some simple act of kindness can light up someone's entire day? Even your own day. I want to tell you a little story about my dad. My dad is 91 years old. And Dad's sitting with me. We were in Miami a few weeks ago, and he said, I want to tell you the story. Did you ever know how we ended up being in the house we're in? We're in a neighborhood in Haiti called Martissan. And I said, no, Dad, I don't know. He said, I was 16 at the time. And he was part of a system in Haiti called MACU, where older men mentor young men. So here's my father at 16. He's now 91, but he's recounting this story. He goes, we were playing the lottery together as a pool. And I played for $5. Back then, $5 was a ton of money. And he went away for a week or so. And then when he came back to work, everybody was like, hey, here comes Gene. Gene, what's going on? And what he didn't realize is that he actually won the lottery. And at 16, he won the big jackpot. And it was legal for a 16-year-old in Haiti to play the lottery. So he said, okay, I'm going to go get my money. So he walked over to this big building on the main street in the corner of Port-au-Prince, where the lottery office was. And all he had was a big bag of cement. Now, Fareed, you may be familiar with this. I don't know if they sell cement in Trinidad the same way they sell cement in Haiti, but it's a big old sack and it's really thick. And my father imagined, if I put all my money in this sack, no one's going to suspect anything. Well, back then it wasn't like the lottery was going to transfer the money to his bank account. No, there were no such thing. So he piled all this cash into this bag of cement. And guess what my dad did? He went to the nearest bike shop, bought himself a bike, and rode that bike straight home to his mother and said, Mom, I won the lottery. Here's this bag of money. Do with it what you see fit. Now, you can't imagine what my grandmother experienced, right? But you can't imagine what my dad experienced, because this one act of kindness, this one act of generosity from a 16-year-old, whatever drove it, created a legacy that my entire family is benefiting from. Because with that money, my grandmother bought that house. This is the power of one act of kindness. Now, you can think for yourself and look and see how some acts of kindness have impacted you. And you may be thinking, there's nothing scientific about that. Guess what? There's something very scientific and physical about giving that makes it so therapeutic and so healing. I want to quote a couple of studies to you. There was a study done on the neuroscience of giving. And the study highlighted in Psychology Today that giving activates the pleasure centers of the brain, releasing neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Now, these chemicals not only enhance your mood, but they have physical health benefits too, such as reducing blood pressure and promoting wound healing. You know, you stub your toe, you can go give something, and the healing of your stubbed toe will be accelerated. Uh, did you ever, could you imagine? Now, there's another study that also intrigued me. It came out in this thing called Mental Floss, and it mentions that regular act of helping others can improve your health in a way that lengthen your lifespan. Now, when you give, folks, you live longer. Now, I'm bringing this to the picture because about a month ago, I visited with my dad. As I mentioned earlier, he's 91. And when you see my father at 91, he looks like a 91-year-old man, but he doesn't behave like one. He's up and about, he's driving, he's not sick. You know, he's got whatever muscle weakness or whatever comes with that age, right? But by and large, my father and my mother, who are both 91, are both caring for themselves and also at this time caring for my brother. Now, I'm going to show you two pictures. One is a before, one is an after. And it's centered around giving. And I'm making this up, folks, but given that science is backing me up, I'm running with it. Here's what I'm making up. I'm making up that my dad lived to be 91 because for his entire life, he's been practicing giving. And I want to share one of the acts of giving he practiced a few months ago that's going to leave you like, you're kidding me, Saurel. No, a 91-year-old did not do that. Now, if you want to be 91, and if you want to be able to do the things that my dad do when you're 91, I recommend we start practicing giving. So this is the gift my dad gave. My dad at 91 still goes to the auction as a mechanic. He buys a vehicle to refurbish. He does all the refurbishing himself. He doesn't program the computers or do all the heavy lifting. If there's a transmission to refurbish, he'll farm that out, right? But by and large, he's the project manager of this refurbishing job. And this is what happened. One of the members of my dad's church needed a car. So dad set out on a mission. I'm going to find this man a car. He finds the car, does the refurbishing, and sells the car to that person at cost. For him, it wasn't about the money. It was about that family having the car. So the story gets better. 2 weeks later, dad's driving down the neighborhood and he sees a car just like the car he's just sold. And the car's all wrecked up. And he goes, oh my God, that can't be. Because in his heart, the first thing that came up is that I know that this family pooled their entire life saving to get this car. And it's now total. They're without a car, they're without the money. Well, my dad said, you know what? Let me go in and confirm. He went in and confirmed. The guy came, not in tears, but, distraught as can be. He spent months saving the money and now it's all gone. He had insurance, but, the personal injury protection did nothing. So dad's telling me the story. Dad said, I looked at him and I said, you know what? I'm going to fix the car for you. It won't take the money you invested to buy it to repair it. You won't have to pay me labor. All you have to do is buy the parts. Now I want to show you two pictures. The first picture is the picture of the car when it came to my dad after the wreck. The second picture is a picture of my dad standing next to the car with the owner standing on the other side of the car. I want you to take a look at this picture.
Okay.
Can you see picture one?
Yes.
That's
yes.
the wrecked
total
vehicle.
front end wreck. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is the wrecked vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That is the catalyst for my dad's giving.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to show you picture number two.
Wow.
This young man is 91 years old. That's my dad.
Wow.
And this young man is the owner who spent his life savings and had the opportunity to recoup it all because of an act of giving. Now, folks, yes, I'm bragging about my daddy, but I'm not really bragging about my daddy.
The principle.
You know, I'm looking and wondering for myself, could it be that his practice of giving his entire life, even up to now, is what got him to 91? The science backs it up. You give, you live longer. You give, you're happier. Now, here's the deal. When you give, there are many forms of giving. Sometimes we think that giving needs to be financial or giving needs to be something of material, right? But it doesn't have to be. Giving could simply be your time. The science says the people who volunteer the most reports being happier. So, like getting up on a Saturday, going to a soup kitchen, getting up on a Saturday, going to an elderly home and serving them. The other thing that the science shows is that giving isn't just for the person receiving. Giving may actually have a bigger impact on the person doing the giving. Think to a time when you gave, but you weren't giving in order to. You know, there are two types of giving. There's I'm giving so I can be on your good list. And then there's I'm giving for the sake of giving itself. That kind of giving has an impact on the giver. And I want you to recall a time when you were giving that way. And this may be a practice for you all the time, but you didn't realize the health benefits of it. Chase is right. Giving is healing. It heals your soul. It heals your body. It heals your mind. And I want to pause now and ask you this question. How has giving impacted your life, whether you were the receiver or the giver? I'd love to hear your stories and experiences. How has giving impacted your life?
Well, Saurel and Daily Huddle family, it's definitely made me feel more like I have a purpose for living. Yeah, it's definitely enhanced purpose for me because I can see where the time that I've given of myself being dedicated to giving to of at least what I have received, that it makes me feel that my life is worth something, it's worth staying alive so I can give more, but also that if I didn't be alive, I'd feel a little okay because I gave. I put something in.
I
put something in the pump.
You put something in the universe, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, Stan, there's a specific form of giving that I know you practice. Share a little bit of that with us and give us a sense of how that leaves you when you practice that kind of giving. And the giving I'm speaking of is the Motivational Readers Mastermind. I really see that as a gift to humanity.
That's the way I actually see it. I see it, and actually I don't know why this is happening, but the message is telling me my computer is going to shut down in 3 minutes without mine. So let me go right ahead.
That's why you were hesitating, right?
Yeah.
Give
So
it some juice.
Yeah, and it's plugged in. I don't get it. But at any rate, the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network is all about reading the kind of things that inspire and encourage us to go ahead and do the things in life that are in us to do, to encourage, inspire, and empower millions of people around the world to believe in and develop their unlimited potential, and to courageously pursue their cherished dreams. And sometimes I feel like an imposter in that, because so much of what we're actually working on and talking about, I haven't accomplished myself yet. But it's also we can grow into that is within us. And I'm into that type of reading. And I've done that kind of reading, and I share that kind of reading. We all come together and read like that, and then work on implementing what we read to really bring out the best in ourselves and to offer the best of ourselves to the world and to the universe. To reach our goals, whatever those goals may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have to be monetary, as you just mentioned. It can be just giving of our service and in our personal way.
Yeah.
Right. But the reading is all about encouraging and inspiring us, empowering us to do that. Tuesday through Saturdays, we're on every morning. Haven't missed a day since it started in 2015. Haven't missed a single Tuesday or Saturday since that time. And it made me feel like I'm consistently giving to the world and bringing good people.
Thank you for giving. Thank you for giving, Stan. And, thank yourself, because as the science shows, it's good for you.
Yeah,
it's good for you.
It's good for me. That's right. Thank you for that opportunity.
Fareed was first, CC. Let's let Fareed go, and then back to you, CC.
Yeah. So, well, this has been a very interesting conversation. And, one of the things is that I've never looked at giving as healing. This is thought-provoking. This has shed a new light on things. Because during my life, I have given, for example, in the church, in my tutoring, I give, for example, I know people who cannot afford to pay me, I will just tutor them at no cost. And I know that when we give, it brings happiness to us. But in terms of healing, I've never looked at it that way, that it heals us. So this is quite interesting. But having said that, Saurel, giving it's a mind thing. Because when we give, we expect something in return. And I think that's something that we need to move away from. I helped Saurel, I gave him something, so I'm expecting days down the road or months down the road, he returns it. And this is something we have to move away from. It's a mind thing. Give without expecting anything in return. And I think that's one of the things we have to change. It's a paradigm shift.
I hear a lesson for all of us in what you're saying, is that it's not just any giving that is healing. It is the giving that heals you as you give that is healing. So I'm seeing for myself that if I'm expecting something in return, in the moment I'm giving, there's nothing good about my giving for me.
Because it's not benefiting me.
Yeah, it's not benefiting me in the moment.
No.
Perhaps it is the giving that is for its own sake that heals. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. I may be 91 one day.
Yeah.
So if I go away before 91, I'll have a little placard on my casket that says, he just didn't give enough.
Yeah. But so let me ask you this. Why do you think that people do not like to give? Because there are people out there who just do not like to give. They are the opposite.
Before I answer that, I want to hear what CC has
Okay.
to say, because CC may actually say something to that. Go ahead, CC.
Oh, thank you so much. I just love this subject about giving. What I'm learning is that giving with no expectations, giving with a clean heart, giving also means forgiving somebody, forgiving everybody, and foregoing selfish thoughts and desires. For me, sometimes I give up meals and pray for other people's healing. And I learned that God heals me from the inside out. So forgiveness is unlimited and giving is unlimited. It's like you cannot be God given, and God has allowed me to be blessed for forgiving, not just giving. I give, but forgiving is healing of a heart. And I think that praying for other people actually blesses the person who prays for other people and advocates for other people and speaks up when something is not right and has courage to face those things from a clean heart. And that's the matters of the heart, the spirit, the mind, and the body is the recipients of the blessing for giving and advocating for others who have no voice. And now they have a voice from somebody else who has a clean heart and is presenting things in a positive, loving, giving way. So today, it's another good day that God has made, and I'm rejoicing in it because it's about giving a smile. You know, you do something for someone. It doesn't just have to be about money, but money is good. But still, it's about being kind, being generous, just being great with another person all the time with no hidden agendas, no expectations in the back of the mind or heart to expect anything back, just to do it because that's where you're coming from. So thank you so much.
Thank you, CC. Thank you. And so standing on your shoulders, CC, and Stan, who shared on the question you asked, Fareed, why is it that some people don't like to give? I'll say something about that. And I want to warn you, what I'm about to say is not the truth. And I'm firmly convicted of it for myself. There were times when I didn't like giving. And what I've realized is that I didn't like giving because I thought I was giving something that was finite. You know, like my money, I only have so much of it. My time, I only have so much of it. My knowledge, I only have so much of it. So I don't like giving when I'm giving something that I believe is finite, scarce, like I don't have enough of it. So it took some work for me to get to the place where I could begin to see the universe or even just the air around us. Notice the air around us, it's almost as if there's an infinite supply. Like I breathe in air, so do you. And yet I'm not worried about the air supply dwindling or the air supply being exhausted either. So when you mentioned earlier, it's a mind thing. I think the mind thing that keeps me from loving giving is something that I see as scarcity. Like, you know what? If I give that, I'm not going to have enough of it later. If I give that, there's not going to be enough left for me or my family. So I don't like to give when, for myself, I'm giving something I don't have enough of. So the work I see is not the work of shifting from not liking giving to liking giving. It's rather the work of shifting my view to that, maybe it's just my nature to give, because I am like the air. There's no such thing as as a finite supply of what I have to give. And I can simply give, not knowing that it will return to me. I think that's a fallacy, by the way. When I give, it doesn't return to me. What I give, I already have. What I give is already all around me. And so you could say what we human beings call giving isn't really giving. What we call sharing isn't really sharing. What we call taking isn't really taking. It's all in the mind. Because see, what I have to give, you already have, I already have. What I have to share, I already have, you already have. And yet, as human beings, when I can create for myself the space where what I already have that I'm extending, meaning the more I give it to you, the more of it I have, I'm saying that that's the kind of giving that leaves me healed. That's the kind of giving that leaves me saying, I am of the universe. Therefore, when I give, I extend and expand the universe. Fareed, what do you want to say to all that?
Well, I've got another question for you. And that is, when we give, do you think that we should be selective based on our conversation? Do you think we should be selective on who we are kind and give to? Because there are people out there who are ungrateful. And there are people who are there who will take advantage of your giving, of your generosity, of your kind heart, of your soft heart. And when they realize that they cannot, what's the word I'm looking for? That you cannot serve them anymore, you cannot benefit them any, then they will turn their back on you. So do you think we should be selective on who we give to?
I like that question. And I'll say this, Fareed. When it comes to giving, Sissy pointed to something. Forgiveness is perhaps the one gift that we can give all the time. So I'll say this. Don't play the game of being selective about who you give to. Do play the game of being selective about what you give to them. Perhaps the only thing that no one can ever take advantage of is your forgiveness. Give forgiveness indiscriminately. And when you're giving, start there. Maybe those people it's not money they need. Maybe it's not a handout that they need. Maybe it's not a book. Maybe it's not you paying their mortgage that they need. So don't be selective about who you give to. But certainly, I'm inviting us to be selective about what we give. And perhaps the only gift that anyone ever needs is your forgiveness. Because in the world that I'm inviting us to traffic in, what you think they need in a scarcity minded world, they don't need at all. They already have access to that. Perhaps your forgiveness creates their access to it. Gio, good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
The context question for today, Gio, is the power of giving. A healing through generosity. Science shows that if you give, brother, and you stub your toe will heal faster. And so the conversation for today's episode was all about that. I'd love, on a closing note, Gio, to hear you express this for me. How has giving impacted your life? As my business partner, I know you to be a giver who gives from an infinite source. And the way you give, often you don't consider yourself, the human being, and how it impacts you. I'd love for you to reflect now. How has giving impacted your life?
Okay, Saurel, thank you for creating this space for me to share my thoughts, closing the daily huddle on a profound question like that. But I guess what I want to say, and I'd love to explore this conversation also later, maybe in a different episode. The way I see giving comes from the darkest moment of my life, financially and emotionally. I remember thinking life is not fair. I work really hard. I'm a good human being. I respect my parents. You know, every now and then I tithe to church, and I'm going through this. You know, and so I was mad at my life, at God, and everything. And it was at midnight, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was flipping through channels before they cut the TV too. It was the period of my life when they even cut the water. And I was listening to, as I was going flipping the channels, there was Joe Austin on TV, right? The pastor from Texas. And he said, he started doing his things. That, "You're going through a rough time?" It's like, yeah. And like he was talking to me, right? And you can't see the light. Yeah. You think life is unfair? Yeah. I mean, I stopped flipping. I was like, this guy's talking to me. And then he said, "You're not giving enough." I'm like, hell, what do you mean I'm not giving enough? And then he says, "If you're going through a rough time right now, you need to find a way to give something to someone. Right now, you need to get the energy flows, and the giving is an energy that flows back to you." So he created this context for me to find a way to give. And this was a Saturday. So on Sunday morning, I wake up and I start calling my friends. "What can I do for you? What can I do for you?" And you can't pay me anything. You cannot pay me anything. And I found this friend, her name is Maria Luisa, and she was moving that day. And it was like the worst thing you want to do, right? Help a friend move. And she's like, "Well, I need to move today. Can you help me out?" I'm like, yes, I got to help you out. I didn't even have money for gas. And she said, "Okay, I'll pay you." I was like, no, you can't pay me. You'll ruin it. You cannot pay me. She said, "Okay, I'll give you some pizza and a Coke." I said, "Okay, that's fine. That's the only thing." And Saurel, about 2 days later, I got a very big contract in North Carolina that kind of allowed me to continue to deal with what I was dealing with at the time. And so now for me, giving, I find a way to continue to look for the opportunities for that. And it's like a philosophy of, I'm not planning it. It's just a philosophy of, I gotta find the next opportunity to give. The energy needs to flow.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things flowing my way that I don't deserve necessarily. So I gotta let the energy continue to flow. Something like that. That's how I see it, Saurel.
I love it, Joe. I love it. Right. What you're pointing to brings us back to what we were creating earlier with Fareed and everyone. Maybe all the things I see to give are just like the air. You know, the air is all around me. I take some, you take some. And perhaps, Gio, if you stop taking air, something goes terribly wrong with the universe. So I'm inviting myself to look at giving as and taking as the opportunity to make things flow in the universe. So giving is indeed healing, because the universe itself runs on giving. Taking is also healing in that case, because guess what? In a world where it's like the air, you have it all, and its source is infinite, there's no such thing as taking too much or giving too much. So it is the give and the take that creates this engine that makes your life, our lives, the universe, this country run. So that's it for today, folks. If your life's not going right, take it from Joel Osteen. You're not giving enough. And if you want healing, perhaps the best, most reliable source of being healed is your own generosity. So we'll end it on this note with our 7 tenets. One of them is to give. And perhaps we can wrap all the others into that one. Because when I give, I do experience love. When I give, I do experience less stress. When I give, I do experience the taste of the food I'm eating in my taste bud, even when it's not mostly plant-based. And when I give, I can exercise more because I'm healthier. I can move better. I can sleep better. So we'll leave it on this note. Perhaps when you are in a giving mode, you may never have to check your assumptions. So just for today, I'm skipping the last one. When you're giving, you do not have to check yourself. Until next time, folks, my name is Saurel Quettan. You can watch The Daily Huddle on YouTube at The Daily Huddle. The co-founder of The Daily Huddle is Mr. Giovanni Gonzalez, my business partner, my brother in all good deeds and love. Gio, thank you for being here. Everyone, thank you for being here. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning with Dr. Monica Ogando. Until then.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings, family. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.